All signs lead to Nick Robertson making the Toronto Maple Leafs starting lineup. Is he ready? We'll discuss this later in the video, but first we just want to say that we're 106 subscribers away from hitting our goal of 1,000 subscribers before the season starts. So if you're looking for a home to daily NHL and daily Leafs content, look no further. Join the Hattrick HQ community. Go down, hit that subscribe button. But with that out of the way, let's get right into the main topic of the video, which is Treliving and Keefe comment on Nick Robertson. And in a recent interview from the Hockey News, Treliving stated, Nick to me is a guy I'm really interested in seeing. He's a driven kid. There's people that you gotta maybe give a boot in the rear, and there's some that you got to hold back. He's a guy that's pedal down all the time, which I love. The one thing that's sort of impeded Nick is injuries, which you can't control. He also says, so what's his chances? Everybody's got a chance. We are just going to watch. We've got 3 weeks or so. We've got a bunch of preseason games. I'm looking forward to seeing him. And Sheldon Keefe also commented, and he said, just go out and make it obvious that you belong. And Mark, when you have the team GM that just came in this offseason that's this high on you and is ready for you to come out and make impact in training camp, you know, it's just going to give you that extra drive to go out there and put your all on the ice and try to make this lineup.
Yeah, the big thing with Nick Robertson is we've seen him produce at every level. He can produce in the OHL when he was there. He was outstanding. In the AHL, when he had limited stints there, I think it was 28 games. He looked amazing there. But it's just the injuries that's really holding him back. And like you said, you can't really control the situation, but it's one thing you're hoping he can have a full healthy season, not just for his health, but for the Toronto Maple Leafs. We heard Austin Matthews talk about it before. He said Nick Robertson has the best shot on the team, which is something coming from a guy like Matthews. And just this impact that he can make. He's on a small deal. I keep talking about these small deals, guys that are in AHL that come up and they step up big. They play over what they're being paid. And he's the type of guy you could fit in your bottom six, maybe even slide up in a pinch. But like we've seen, he's fast. He skates hard. He'll go in the corners. He does everything he can. Sometimes this leads to him getting hurt. But overall, just a guy with this good of a shot, this good of skating, and just ready to develop his game. I think he's a huge impact for the Leafs. And overall, I just think he's an outstanding player just waiting for that breakout.
Robertson kind of reminds me a bit of William Nylander. He kind of has that speed and obviously has such a great shot. I think this guy's a really good shot at making the team. Obviously, we've seen him in a Leafs uniform before, but hopefully he can be healthy because I think this guy's going to have a breakout year this year. And I think we could see this guy maybe take Nyes' role throughout this season if he's playing really well.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. You can kind of rotate him through the lineup. I know we've seen a lot of Tavares with Lafferty and Nyes on that second line there, but he's the type of guy you can almost slide in if you want a bit more offense on that line. You can kind of move him up and down the lineup. It's just he has such a lethal shot. Even him and Domi would just produce so well with a good playmaking, a good shot. His work ethic is there. He throws his body. He plays bigger than he is. And just overall, I think he needs to make this roster, and I think he's just going to be a major impact as well.
Yeah, definitely. And only 22 years of age, too. Like, this guy's the future of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Him and Nyes and a couple other guys that they have up there in training camp right now. I think this guy's, like I said, the future of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think this guy's a potential maybe 40 goal scorer at some point in his career. And one thing that I'd like to bring up is that we didn't see Jason Robertson, his brother, start to produce in the NHL till he hit 22 years of age. Could we see this out of Nick this year, Mark?
Oh God, I really hope so. If we can get Jason Robertson out of Nick, that would be incredible. You know, you look at Jason, he's just an incredible player in Dallas. He's, in my opinion, the best player over there. And when you look at Nick, he has the same skills. Jason Robertson just came off a 45, 46 goal season. Nick has just as good of a shot. He just needs these opportunities. He needs a healthy season. And just at this age, too, where you say 22 years old, it feels like forever ago that Nick came into the Leafs. He stepped up into the playoff role. They put him onto a team, and the injuries kind of derailed him. But you got to think that's 4 years ago. He's still so young. He's a guy that we can develop. He's a guy with a shot, like I keep talking about. And I think he could have a 20-goal season on the right line this year.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. We're going to get into our next topic of the video, which is Robertson ready to make that jump? And in this article, again by the Hockey News, Nick actually came out and said, I'm just confident in myself right now. For me, I'm just happy with where my body's at and everything. They're still obviously getting back into practice with the team and the boys. It's been like 10 months, so you got to get the rust off and get your confidence back. I'm not worried about that. I'm sure I'll get that thousand or get that through a few days, and it was good to get a practice in and get the nerves out today. So I'm happy with where everything's at with my body, and I look forward to getting confident and playing my game again. And so we take a look at his lines he was playing with here in training camp. He was playing with Holmberg and Abersuazi, potentially in that fourth line, in the bottom six type role. And Mark, I just think this is great for Nick Robertson. I think just hearing him say he's so confident in everything in his game, coming back through that injury, I think he's just in for a great year. And hopefully, I think in my mind, I think this guy makes the lineup for opening night.
Yeah, that's the big thing too. You kind of see these lines they're trying. Obviously, we're going to have Matthews and Marner on the top line. Tavares is going to be on the second. I do think Nylander does slide up if that's center or on the right wing. Either or, I do think we need him up there. You might have a situation where he plays a bit of third line, depending on the situations. But you look at this left side, and it's kind of up in the air. You have a guy like Bertuzzi, Nyes, Robertson, and it's kind of just open up in the sense of you could kind of plug and play Nick Robertson in different situations. I wouldn't be surprised in preseason if they give him a bit of run on the top line with Matthews and Marner. Maybe you want to run a Nyes, Tavares, and Robertson. If Robertson can pick up his offensive game, which I do think he can do, like I said, an incredible shot, you could see the situation of having a big guy like Nyes. He'll throw hits, he'll get into the corners. Just an overall an incredible player in Tavares. And this younger guy that's trying to make his impact, which would kind of level out that second line if you did want to keep Nylander down. You might even see a situation where you could run Domi, Tavares, Robertson. The defense might not totally be there, but you get a lot of grit. You get a lot of guys that are going to fight every shift. Then you can kind of slot people around here and there. I think Lafferty's the type of guy we might see slide down to that fourth line. He may be off the team depending on how Gregor fits out. But overall, I think he's going to make this team. I don't think it's going to be a fourth line role. I could definitely see it being in the top nine, maybe the top line if they want to slide Bertuzzi down to get more production out of the bottom pairing, and then just kind of have Robertson up there where Matthews and Marner is going to produce no matter what. We've seen them do it with a guy like Michael Bunting. So overall, I think that's where he would come out of his game the most. But overall, I do think he's going to score 20 goals this year, and I think he's going to be a gem for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. I think for me, I think his perfect fit is with Max Domi. I think Domi's just such a great playmaker, and I think having him being on a line with that guy will just benefit him so much. I think we could easily see 20, maybe even 25 goals out of him playing with a guy like that. Hopefully he can stay healthy because obviously throughout his career he's been dealing with injuries, which you don't want to see. We kind of want to see a full season of Nick Robertson. We want to see what he can do because obviously that talent is there, and I think he's in for a really good year. Another line that you could expect to see him on is maybe on that fourth line with like a Kemp or a Reeves. I think if you have those guys out there to kind of protect him where he's dealt with these injuries in the past, I think it will help him stay healthy throughout the season.
Yeah, and you could even try a third line of Kemp in the middle, Domi on the left wing, maybe Robertson on the right. You can kind of rotate these guys on this line, but if I'm running a center on this line, I do want David Kemp running it. And the thing with this is you get a playmaker in Domi, you get a goal scorer in Robertson, and you get a defensive, just incredible player at center in Kemp, where I think they'd complement each other in so many different aspects. Obviously, Domi's defense isn't incredible. We haven't really seen Nick Robertson and how he can play in the defensive end, but this is where you kind of get a guy like David Kemp can step up. You can kind of run this line with your third pairing if you wanted a more shutdown in Liljegren and Giordano. And I think overall, the Leafs are in such a good spot that you can kind of run these guys in different situations. Like I've said, Matthews will be the one center, Tavares is going to be the two. The three is up in there, and then when you look at the right wings, it's just a mix of Marner and Nylander, guys like this. So I just like all these pieces. You can mix and match. You can test them out. This is a long season. We have preseason. We have 82 games. Then it's the playoffs. So you get all this near 90 games just to kind of work through it, see where everyone fits, see where the chemistry works. There's a new core. Well, not a new core, but a new group. And I think it's just a matter of time when it starts to gel and we just see this team explode.
If you guys want to tune in to some Leafs preseason action, they are in action tomorrow against Ottawa Senators. So if I was you, I'd tune into that game. It's going to be on Sportsnet. If you're in Canada, in the States, I'm not sure. Maybe you can find it on Sportsnet Plus. But I think you should definitely tune into this because it's where you're going to get some early action of these Leafs prospects and these Leafs lines. And I just think Nick Robertson, throughout this, you guys might not think that he would start in the NHL this year dealing with those injuries. Like he said in this interview, he's been off for 10 months. But I do expect him to have a great preseason, a great camp, and to get back in that lineup and prove everybody that he belongs in NHL this season. But we're going to get into our next topic of the video here, which is everybody's favorite comment of the day. And the comment of the day today goes to Red Topper. And he's talking about our Stamkos video yesterday where he says, he could end up in Toronto, anything is possible. Nobody thought Gretzky would leave Edmonton, but he ended up going to LA, St. Louis, and New York. Sorry about that. But obviously, Mark, I think this is such a great comment to kind of clue up the Stamkos drama that we had yesterday. Like you said, Gretzky, everybody expected him to be in Edmonton his whole career, but he ended up going everywhere else. Calling in basketball, Michael Jordan ended up coming back and playing with the Wizards, if anybody remembers that. But I do think that we could potentially see Stamkos in Toronto.
And the big thing is too is Robertson's the type of guy, if he starts producing, but you can't really find him a spot to fit on this team, he could be a trade chip going into deadline. Now the problem with this is I bet you'll end up trading him in a Stamkos deal if the Lightning are bad. And then Nick goes on to have a 50-goal season for 10 straight seasons or something. It's always the Leafs curse. But I think overall this is going to be an incredible season. Stamkos to the Leafs would be outstanding. I'd be quite happy, especially with the hometown discount. And honestly, just go Leafs go.
Yeah, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the Tampa Bay Lightning curse because I'm still punching the air about the Sergachev trade. But it is what it is. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to go down below, hit that like button. Make sure to comment down below what you think of Nick Robertson. Do you think he's making the lineup? We just want to hear all your thoughts, especially on this Leafs training camp. What are some of your thoughts? Let us know down below. And obviously, you might hear it in my voice right now. I'm a bit under the weather, but still had to come in and get this video out to you guys. But I've been KC, alongside my co-host, Mark Pye. Keep your stick on the ice.